If you remember last episode, after all of our effort, we actually managed to swap the engine and hook almost everything up, but there were still a few loose wires we just couldn't figure out, and Zion couldn't even hook the battery up without sparks flying. So obviously something was wrong, and after a week of messing around, he simply just couldn't figure it out, and who can blame him? Wiring is the least fun part of any car project. So he decided to tow the car to a shop. Now, it was technically always the plan to bring the car to this shop anyway, since they were going to do a full coolant flush and final look over everything, but now the MR2 is just going a bit earlier to get the wiring sorted out too. And yeah, after all of us sitting waiting for a couple weeks, Zion got one update call. The mechanic explained there was something up with the starter wire and the key wouldn't work, but they were able to jumpstart the engine and run it off starter fluid since there was also something wrong with the fuel pressure. And well, after another couple weeks of waiting, I got a call from Zion saying to meet at the shop. Thank God I was home. So I hurried over to the place and showed up at the same time as the rest of the crew to see this. And after standing around watching Zion cheesing, we finally got to hear this after months of waiting. So epic. Now the thing is, this swap took almost 6 months to do, and on top of that the car had been sitting with a blown engine for almost another year, so obviously this thing is dirty, so we're first going to go take it to a car wash to clean off that project car dust. So we each hopped in our own cars, but none of us were nearly as excited as Zion.
I'm driving my car!
Anyone who's ever had a project car sitting in their garage for months on end definitely knows the feeling though. So Zion and Isaiah washed up the car real quick to make it look as sharp as it ran, and of course took the T-tops off to enjoy the summer sun. Then we took the cars to grab some quick food before heading back home for the day. Obviously, we had to get the window seats. And yeah, that was kind of the day. Zion also picked up some new tabs for the plate and is going to spend some time soldering the taillights since they're still disconnected, but other than that, it's really done. Well, it's a week later. Zion has been driving the MR2 fine since, and honestly, I don't really know what else to show or say at this point, so I'm gonna let the engine do the talking for a sec here. We also did some driving, and you can see the exhaust shooting legit flames. Most of them are little decent sized ones, but some of these things are massive. Like, if you see that thing in front of you, that is definitely some major intimidation factor right there. Now, one thing to note is the speedometer and tach aren't hooked up. We aren't sure if that's something lost in the swap or it's simply just disconnected. Either way, right now it makes doing tests and knowing the true potential of the car kind of hard, especially because the car is supposed to redline at 8K now, but there's no way of knowing when that is. regardless, we did some pulls, and jeez, does this thing rip. You can see me trying to film steadily, but getting flung around in the passenger seat. I may not have an airbag, but at least I got one of these things to keep me safe. We even tried a 0 to 60 pull using a phone app, but the timer didn't seem to work, and again, we have no way of knowing when we're maxing out the rev range either, but we hit 60 in second gear, which is something. And well, I guess that's the end of the beam swap saga for now. Obviously, there's a few things to do, like figure out the gauges, and next up for the car is new suspension and wheels, but still, the engine is swapped, and the car lives yet again after over a year of sitting and months of work. At some point, we'll probably do a full review on the car and engine and some good testing, but I think for now, some time to enjoy the thing is needed. Both our MR2s got quite a rebirth this year in their own way, and I guess that's the beauty of cars. They can always come back from the dead. Ain't no better sight than that.